Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Salutations to Ramana, who shines as the Self in all beings. We begin today's satsang with prayer chanted by Srimati Sapna Ganesh, that will be followed by the chanting of the Muktaka trayam by Ujwal Jagadeesh.
दक्षिणामूर्तिसारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमां रमणाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् शुक्लां वरदरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये आङ्गिकं भुवनं यस्यां वाचिकं सर्ववाङ्मयम् आहार्यं चन्द्रतारादि तं नमः सात्विकं शिवम्। ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय। नमो रमणा to everyone.
एकमक्षरं हृदि निरन्तरं भासते स्वयं लिख्यते कथं हृदयकुहरमध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् ह्यहमहमिति साक्षात् आत्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वता मज्जता वा पवनचलनरोधा आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम् देहं मृण्मयवज्जडात्मकमहं बुद्धिर्न तस्यास्यतो नाहं तत्ततपेतसुप्तिसमये सिद्धात्मसद्भावतः कोऽहं भावयुतः कुतो वरधिय दृष्टात्मनिष्ठात्मनां सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं। Namo Ramana. We have the chanting of a few verses of Upadesa Saram by Uma Sripathy.
Namo Ramana. कर्तुराज्ञया प्राप्यते फलं कर्म किं परं कर्म तज्जडं कृतिमहो दधौ पतनकारणं फलमशाश्वतं गतिनिरोधकम् ईश्वरार्पितं नेच्छया कृतं चित्तशोधकं मुक्तिसाधकं कायवाङ्मना कार्यमुत्तमं पूजनं जपश्चिन्तनं क्रमात् जगत ईषधी युक्तसेवनम् अष्टमूर्तिभृद्देवपूजनम् उत्तमस्तवादुत्तमन्दत चित्तजं जप ध्यानमुत्तमम् आज्यधारया स्रोतसा समं सरलचिन्तनं विरलतः परं भेदभावना सोऽहमित्यसौ भावना बिदा पावनी मता भावशून्य सत् भावसुस्थिति भावना बलात् भक्तिरुत्तमा हृत्स्थले मन स्वस्थता क्रिया भक्तियोगबोधाश्च निश्चितम् नमो रमण
Namo Ramana. We have the offerings of Ramananjali Sangeetam. The first offering will be by Srimati V. Radha. That will be followed by an offering of Ramananjali song by Dr. Pratibha Sundaresh, and that will be followed by an offering by Savitri Krishnan and Jaisriram Krishnan.
Namo Ramana to all. Today I have selected a song written by Sri Sadhu Om Swami. The Kannada translation is by Dr. N.S. Lakshmi Narayana Bhatta. The music is by Rangara. ತನ್ನವರನು ಕೈ ಬಿಡುವನೆ ರಮಣ ಏತಕ್ಕೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮರುಳೇ ತನ್ನವರನು ಕೈ ಬಿಡುವನೆ ರಮಣ ಏತಕ್ಕೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮರುಳೇ ಯಾವ ದಾರಿಯನು ಬೆಳಗುವ ಅರುಣ ಏತಕ್ಕೆ ನಿನಗಾರಗಳೇ ಯಾವ ದಾರಿಯನು ಬೆಳಗುವ ಅರುಣ ಏತಕ್ಕೆ ನಿನಗಾರಗಳೇ ತನ್ನವರನು ಕೈ ಬಿಡುವನೆ ರಮಣ ಏತಕ್ಕೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮರುಳೇ ಲೋಕದ ಬಂಧನ ತಾಕದ ರೀತಿ ಕೇಡಿನ ಮಡಿಲಿಗೆ ದೂಡದ ರೀತಿ ಲೋಕದ ಬಂಧನ ತಾಕದ ರೀತಿ ಕೇಡಿನ ಮಡಿಲಿಗೆ ದೂಡದ ರೀತಿ ನಂಬಿದ ಮಗುವನು ನಡೆಸುವ ರಮಣ ನಂಬಿದ ಮಗುವನು ನಡೆಸುವ ರಮಣ ತಾನೇ ತಾಯಿಯೊಲು ತನ್ನವರನು ಕೈ ಬಿಡುವನೆ ರಮಣ ಏತಕ್ಕೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮರುಳೇ ಒಪ್ಪಿಸಿಕೊಂಡವ ಗೆಲ್ಲಿದೆ ನಾನು ನಾನು ಅಳಿದ ಮೇಲುಂಟೆ ನೀನು ಒಪ್ಪಿಸಿಕೊಂಡವ ಗೆಲ್ಲಿದೆ ನಾನು ನಾನು ಅಳಿದ ಮೇಲುಂಟೆ ನೀನು ಯೋಚನೆಯಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅಳಿಯಲು ಮನವೋ ಯೋಚನೆಯಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅಳಿಯಲು ಮನವು ಇರುವುದೆಲ್ಲ ಬರಿಯವನು ತನ್ನವರನು ಕೈ ಬಿಡುವನೆ ರಮಣ ಏತಕ್ಕೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮರುಳೇ ಯಾವ ದಾರಿಯನು ಬೆಳಗುವ ಅರುಣ ಏತಕ್ಕೆ ನಿನಗಾರಗಳೇ ತನ್ನವರನು ಕೈ ಬಿಡುವನೆ ರಮಣ ಏತಕ್ಕೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮರುಳೇ ಏತಕ್ಕೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮರುಳೇ ಏತಕ್ಕೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮರುಳೇ ನಮೋ ರಮಣ.
ಓಂ ನಮೋ ಭಗವತೆ ಶ್ರೀ ರಮಣಾಯ. This is again another Kannada translation of Murugana Swami's composition. It's called as Piditha Pattu, Decade of Holding Firm. In this, he extols Bhagwan's grace of holding us firm within the heart, giving very simple and famous examples from Vedanta. So in this particular composition, Murugana Swami says, like golden ornaments emerging out of gold, as gold subsisting and in gold then disappearing, I now behold all things arise in me, subsist as I and then disappear in me. You, Venkata, have by your grace transformed me into pure awareness, free of all thoughts, and you I hold firm within my heart. And now, where, whence, and how can I from you apart? ನನ್ನೊಳಗೆ ಬೇರಿಳಿಸಿ ನಿಂತೆ ನೀನು, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಲಿ ನಿನ್ನ ತೊರೆದು ನಾನು, ತೊರೆದು ನಾನು. ನನ್ನೊಳಗೆ ಬೇರಿಳಿಸಿ ನಿಂತೆ ರಮಣ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಲಿ ನಿನ್ನ ತೊರೆದು ನಾನು, ತೊರೆದು ನಾನು, ತೊರೆದು ನಾನು, ತೊರೆದು ನಾನು. ಚಿನ್ನದಿಂದೇಳುವುದು ಬಣ್ಣದಾಭರಣ, ಆಗಲೂ ಚಿನ್ನ ಇದ್ದೇ ಇರುವುದು. ಚಿನ್ನದಿಂದೇಳುವುದು ಬಣ್ಣದಾಭರಣ, ಆಗಲೂ ಚಿನ್ನ ಇದ್ದೇ ಇರುವುದು. ಕರಗಿಸಲು ಅಳೆಯುವುದು ಆಭರಣ ರೂಪ, ಆಗಲೂ ಹೊನ್ನು ಹಾಗೆ ಇರುವುದು. ಕರಗಿಸಲು ಅಳೆಯುವುದು ಆಭರಣ ರೂಪ, ಆಗಲೂ ಹೊನ್ನು ಹಾಗೆ ಇರುವುದು. ನನ್ನೊಳಗೆ ಬೇರಿಳಿಸಿ ನಿಂತೆ ನೀನು, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಲಿ ನಿನ್ನ ತೊರೆದು ನಾನು, ತೊರೆದು ನಾನು. ನನ್ನೊಳಗೆ ಬೇರಿಳಿಸಿ ನಿಂತೆ ರಮಣ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಲಿ ನಿನ್ನ ತೊರೆದು ನಾನು, ತೊರೆದು ನಾನು, ತೊರೆದು ನಾನು, ತೊರೆದು ನಾನು. ಸುತ್ತ ಕಾಣುವ ಲೋಕ ನನ್ನಿಂದಲೇ ಎದ್ದು ನನ್ನಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮೈಯಳಿವುದು. ಸುತ್ತ ಕಾಣುವ ಲೋಕ ನನ್ನಿಂದಲೇ ಎದ್ದು ನನ್ನಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮೈಯಳಿವುದು. ರೂಪಗಳು ಅಳಿದರೂ ನಾನೆಂಬ ಪ್ರಜ್ಞೆ ನಿತ್ಯವೂ ಸತ್ಯವೂ ಆಗಿರುವುದು. ರೂಪಗಳು ಅಳಿದರೂ ನಾನೆಂಬ ಪ್ರಜ್ಞೆ ನಿತ್ಯವೂ ಸತ್ಯವೂ ಆಗಿರುವುದು. ನನ್ನೊಳಗೆ ಬೇರಿಳಿಸಿ ನಿಂತೆ ನೀನು, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಲಿ ನಿನ್ನ ತೊರೆದು ನಾನು, ತೊರೆದು ನಾನು. ನನ್ನೊಳಗೆ ಬೇರಿಳಿಸಿ ನಿಂತೆ ರಮಣ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಲಿ ನಿನ್ನ ತೊರೆದು ನಾನು, ತೊರೆದು ನಾನು, ತೊರೆದು ನಾನು, ತೊರೆದು ನಾನು, ತೊರೆದು ನಾನು, ತೊರೆದು ನಾನು. ನಮೋ
அருணனுதீத்த நன்னருணகிரி தன்னில் அழகிய ரமணரே வாரும். அருணாச்சலேஸ்வரே வாரும். சாலை கோயில் ஓசை காலையில் பூவிற்று சற்குணரே வாரும். சாம்பவி வாழ்வது சங்கமொழிந்தது தாரகை மங்கின இங்கித ரமணரே வாரும். ஈஷ சுரேஷரே வாரும். കോഴികൾ കൂറിന പൊറുകലിയന്തിന നാഴികയാച്ചത് വാരും നല്ലിരുളകന്തത് വാരും சின்னங்கள் காக்கடம் பேரிகையாத்தன பொன்னகரமனரே வாரும் போதஸ்வரூபரே வாரும் காகம் கரைந்தது காதலிட்டு நாகம் வாரும் கஞ்சனி கண்டரே வாரும் கற்பனை ஒழிந்தது கமலங்களந்தன விற்பன ரமணரே வாரும் வேதாந்த ரூபரே வாரும் முக்குணரகிதரே முக்தி நாடாழ்வோரே சற்குண ரமணரே வாரும் சாந்த ஸ்வரூபரே வாரும் சத்து சித்தானந்த வடிவினை சார்ந்திடும் தத்துவராயரே வாரும் தாண்டவமூர்த்தியே வாரும் இன்ப துன்பம் இல்லா ஏகதமே வாரும் ஆனந்த மோனரே வாரும் ஆனந்த மோனரே வாரும் ஓம் நமோ பகவதே ஸ்ரீ ரமணாய.
Namo Ramana. We move on to the part of the satsang where we have reading and sharing by Sri Nandakumarji.
Namo Ramana. In this, the book reading segment of our satsang, we have been reading from Ramana's Muruganar, the birth centenary offering, a compilation of articles on Muruganar, edited and compiled by our founder president, Sri A.R. Natarajanji. We have been reading the account of Sri Jaisriramji, T.K. Jaisriram, whose father, T.V. Krishnaswamy, was also a great devotee of Bhagwan. He introduces the article very nicely by going for the teachings of Bhagwan, that Bhagwan is asking us to only hold on to the I, not to the non-self, and that holding on to the relative I will bring us to the self-luminous self, which is the ever-pleasant bliss. And that his teachings are so wonderful that it attracted many great ones. One such great devotee attracted was Muruganar, and the first part that we read was about a brief account of Muruganar coming to Bhagwan, his great command over the Tamil language, or the ability, the skill over the literature that he had, and how he was recognized by the Tamil greats of that time, U.V. Swaminatha Iyer and Chengalvaraya, and so on. So many great, including our own Suddhanand Bharatiji, who was a recognized great Tamil writer of that time, poet of that time. And the account goes on to say how Muruganar is captured by Bhagwan and he decides to write all his poetry only on Bhagwan, and that he had no intention to gain any fame. So I would like to trace back a little bit and restart with the entry of Ramanapadananda, how he contributes to Bhagavan's service and how he propagates the writings of Muruganar. We start with that part. That I'll start where Ramanapadananda enters this article. Each verse of Muruganar is like a gem, and all his poetical garlands, and all are his poetical garlands for Ramana. As Muruganar renounced everything except devotion for Ramana, he never expected any name or fame for himself. So he was not going to go into printing his works. Now there arose a question whether this invaluable treasure of thousands of verses by Muruganar would ever see the light of the day, or would they go in vain, like moonlight in the forest, unknown to any conscious beings. As if in answer to this question, Sri Ramanapadananda appeared on the scene. Ramanapadananda's original name was V.S. Kuppuswamy Iyengar. He was a businessman and had traveled throughout India. At the age of 39, in 1928, he went for darshan of Bhagavan Ramana. In the very first darshan itself, he was filled with ecstasy and he remained weeping in the presence of Ramana for a long time. He had complete peace of mind, which was unknown to him till then. Padananda himself wrote about this first darshan. On that day, he had the taste of bliss, which he had never had in his life till then. As he took delight at the lotus feet of Ramana and would be shedding tears uncontrollably, he was called Ramana Padananda. So we get to understand that the Jnana Marga is the same as the Marga of Bhakti and surrender. By the act of surrender, he experiences the same bliss that a Jnana Margi would feel by finding this Purana inside. When Padananda went to Tiruchuli, the birthplace of Ramana, and other places, he found to his dismay that people realized little about the greatness of Bhagavan, of Ramana. He decided that his life mission was to propagate the glory of Ramana as the Yuga Purusha. With this view in mind, he gave up his business. He started arranging festivals, Jayanti celebrations, pujas, processions, and discourses on Ramana in several towns. In the meanwhile, he had the blessed contact of Muruganar and developed great devotion to him. He realized that Muruganar's life was entirely devoted to singing the glory of Ramana, and he had already composed thousands of verses on Ramana. He felt intuitively that by popularizing this work of Muruganar, people would have the opportunity of getting the grace of Ramana. Thus, Ramanapadananda took up the challenge and privilege of getting Muruganar's early works into print. Muruganar did not have the urge to publish his works, but in Bhagavan Sannidhi, somebody else is provided for that. Thus, Ramanapadananda took up the challenge and privilege of getting Muruganar's early works into print. Propagating Muruganar's writings as well as Bhagavan's greatness became his ambition, which took him to several parts of India. He got a good response in Sri Lanka, Burma, and Malaysia also. Adequate funds came with untiring efforts of Ramanapadananda, together with the help of several others. The first publication of Muruganar's, Ramana Sannidhi, consisting of over 100 Padigam songs. From one of these Padigams only, our own Pratibha had sung the Piditha Padde, how the grace catches hold of the sadhaka, and that was quoted in this article also in the beginning. I'll go back to that sentence. With the untiring efforts of Ramanapadananda, together with the help of several others, the first publication of Muruganar's Ramana Sannidhi Murai, consisting of over 100 Padigams, songs, and 1250 verses, was brought out in January 1933. It was followed by a second edition in April 1939, 6 years later, 118 Padigams, 1851 verses. My father, T.K. Jaisriram is taking his personal account. My father, T.V. Krishnaswamy, was also one who had sought refuge in Bhagavan Ramana. He had great admiration and devotion to Muruganar. I remember that when I was a boy, Muruganar, Ramana Padananda, and several others used to meet, discuss, and scrutinize many papers in our small house at Madras, Mylapore. It was a part of the work being done for the publication of Ramana Sannidhi Murai. So probably if it is the first edition, he is talking of some of this meeting taking place in Chennai in the early 30s, 1930s, because 33 was the first publication. It was a part of the work being done for the publication of Ramana Sannidhi Murai. I regard it as purely the grace of Ramana that I could come in contact, albeit limited, with Muruganar and Ramana Padananda. Coming to contact with these great devotees who are totally committed. They are so selflessly working. They have given their all to the seva of Bhagavan. To meet them is such a great thing at such a young age. And no wonder the article is so nicely composed. You understand that their bhakti has not gone anywhere. It is continuing through the T.K. Jairaman's own spirit. Ramana Padananda laid the foundation for the publication of Muruganar's extraordinary works. The early writings were the ecstatic outpourings of Muruganar dealing with Bhagavan's greatness, grace, and how he redeemed and blessed him. Bhagavan's Upadesha, based on replaced queries and doubts raised by ardent seekers, are contained in what was published as Guru Vachaka Kovai. Subsequent works flowing out of Muruganar's sublime experience or Atmanubhava were published in Ramana Jnana Bodham. The work started by Padananda was carried on zealously by the Venerable Sadhuvam and Professor K. Swaminathan. That is the account by this great devotee T.K. Jairaman sir, who has composed this article so beautifully, beginning with Bhagavan's teachings and how Muruganar was attracted, how he could not go into propagating his own prints, his own works. Ramana Padananda is brought by the Sannidhi, and that same Sannidhi brings for the spreading of the teachings. That's what Bhagavan says. If you remain still and abiding in the self, the teachings will spread by itself. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramana. Namo Ramana.
Namo Ramana. We go to the part of the satsang where we have the self-enquiry meditation by Shri Dileep Simhaji.
Ramana. Dhyayet Sharada Chandra Sundaramukam Tamraravindekshanam Bhaktabhishtavarabhayapradakaram Kaupinamatrojvalam Svatmanam Tarasanubhuti Vivasham Sarvanavadyangakam Srimantam Shri Ramanishwaram Guruvaram Yogasanam Dhyasitam Dhyayet Shri Ramanishwaram Dhyayet Shri Ramanishwaram Dhyayet Shri Ramanishwaram हृदयकुहरमध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रं यहमहमिति साक्षातात्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वतामज्जतव पवनचलनरोधात् आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम्. Namo Ramana. We will commence the Atma Vicharam by listening and meditating on Bhagavan's Upadesham. I will be reading his Upadesham from the book Guru Vachaka Kovai, from the chapter Experience of the Truth. The topic is Bhuma's greatness. Verse 1006. Only the infinite Bhuma, the non-dual Gnana, wherein seeing, hearing, and the fragmentary natured perceiver who perceives them suffers annihilation, is the unalloyed happiness of the intense peace. Only the infinite Bhuma, the non-dual Gnana, wherein seeing, hearing, and the fragmentary natured perceiver who perceives them suffer annihilation, is the unalloyed happiness of the intense peace. This is about the greatness of Bhuma. Here, that it is being very clearly communicated that so long as we are holding on to this seer, hearer, and the perceiver of objects, maybe it is subtle or gross, the suffering is going to be there one way or the other. If there is a happiness, immediately after the end of that cycle, there will be suffering. But when this is understood, that this is a very changing, continuously morphing experience that we will have through this seeing, hearing, and perceiving. And when we understand that there is one underlying truth which enables all of this, and yet it stands transcendental of all of this, by inquiring to whom is this, who am I, then the underlying truth, that one non-dual entity, that pure being consciousness, where there is nothing apart from it, would be seen as the real gnana, the real truth. Whereas all this seeing, hearing, perceiving is all an imaginary ajnana, wherein we are hoping that the objects that we perceive is going to bring us happiness. So we vest our existence to that object. We vest our consciousness, attention to that object, and pursue happiness in them, only to recognize that everything is transitory. Even if we get a sense of happiness from them, it is going to fade away again into a state of losing that happiness and therefore unhappiness. When one clearly sees that this ajnana, attention to objects and perceiving them, is making one go through these cycles of happiness and unhappiness and dukkha and moha. And when one really inquires to whom is this, who am I, and perceives that really in reality, there is only that one non-dual truth, which alone is. And when one abides in that, that makes this perceiver, this seer, this ego, become annihilated, says Bhagavan, because in reality it was all imaginary. So the truth alone will be seen as it is, so naturally available. And in that, what is the greatness of that? it not only brings, as Nandakumarji was saying, that Sannidhi brings happiness to the manifested field, to the duality field. It also brings the happiness to oneself because that is what is one's nature. Therefore, that is the greatness of the Bhuma, says Bhagavan here. It brings unalloyed happiness and intense peace both within and, if we can say, without also. Because that alone is and that alone shines, the unalloyed happiness. So Bhagavan here is saying that that is why self-enquiry, unlike all other margas, is making us recognize the natural truth which is of our own nature, here and now. And by practicing, by consciously reaching out to that truth, and in that way, annihilating all the imaginary things, that non-dual truth alone, that unalloyed happiness alone is experienced as naturally that is possible. That is the greatness of this Bhuma, this self, says Bhagavan. With Bhagavan's immense grace, with which alone we have come to this most natural path. For the next 10 minutes, let us practice Atma Vichara. In Atma Vichara, no matter how many thoughts come, no matter whatever is the nature of those thoughts, whether they are good, bad, ugly, or even spiritual, because it is all an object perceived by somebody. So we question it. To whom is this? Therefore, moving the attention, which was running behind this object to experience some happiness, to itself by inquiring to whom is this, the answer will be for me. So the attention comes back to the perceiver. Further, by inquiring who am I, then the attention is taken to that source which enables, in whose light, or in Bhagavan puts, on whose screen all of this appear and disappear. By inquiring who am I, we get back to that truth, that non-dual truth which is unaffected by all of this here and now. And that is the unalloyed happiness. That is the greatness of the Bhuma, says Bhagavan. With Bhagavan's immense grace, let us practice Atma Vichara for the next 10 minutes. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Namo Ramana. Thank you all.
Namo Ramana. We are in this part of the satsang where we are meditating on the verses of Ramanacentre written by Vasishta Kavya Kanta Ganapati Muni, and they have been compiled and given to us by Bhagavan Ramana himself. And we are meditating on the last verse of this Chatvarimshat. Chatvarimshat is 40 verses in praise of Bhagavan Ramana, and we are on the 40th verse. And this 40th verse seems to be summarizing all the glory of Ramana. Ramana may be very, very glorious, but what is the use of his glory? And he says the glory of Ramana is an example for us. It is an example that Ramana has succeeded. So he has shown the path that each one of us can reach that very state that Ramana is in. The Great One says Ramana has come into our lives to make us realize that we are also Ramana. Ramana alone is not somebody very, very big and who cannot be approached by anyone, but Ramana is the self which is shining within everyone. And if we turn towards the heart and realize this truth, then we will understand that we are not separate from Ramana. We are Ramana himself. Here is the verse where he describes the glory of Ramana. Shantir nidantamadika paramasya shakti vairagyamadbhutatamam karunatu sandra jnanam nirastakuhanam maduram cha vrittam nrinam nidarsanamayam ramano maharshi Ramanam Gurum Namami, Ramanam Gurum Namami, Apurva Shanti, Aparimita Shakti, Apurva Shanti, Aparimita Shakti, Adbhuta Virakti, Aghada Karuna, Kapata Villada Jnana, Madura ನಡತೆಯೂ ಆದರ್ಶರಿವರು ಮನುಜರಿಗೆ ರಮಣ ಮಹರ್ಷಿಗಳು ರಮಣ ಗುರುವಿಗೆ ನಮನ ರಮಣ ಗುರುವಿಗೆ ನಮನ ರಮಣ ಗುರುವಿಗೆ ನಮನ ರಮಣ ಗುರುವಿಗೆ ನಮನ. In the first line, Ganapati Muni says, he is full of apurva shanti, shantir nidantamadika, paramasya shakti, and he is very, very peaceful. At the same time, he is filled with power. He has both shanti and shakti. In the Ramana Gita, Ganapati Muni himself writes one more song where he says, Shaktimantamapi Shanti Samyutam Bhaktimantamapi Bhedavarjitam Vitaragamapi Lokavatssalam Devatamshamapi Namracheshtitam. Ramana is full of Shaktimantamapi Shanti Samyutam. He is full of peace. He is full of power, yet full of peace. And Bhaktimantamapi Bhedavarjitam. He is full of devotion, yet he does not see any differences in anyone. He loves everyone as that one power which he calls Arunachala. And Veetaragamapi Lokavatsalam, he is devoid of any passion, devoid of any attachment. Yet he loves everyone in the world because he does not see anybody as separate from himself. He loves everyone as himself. And Devatamshamapi Namracheshtitam, although he is the Bhagavan as recognized by Ganapati Muni, he is none other than the embodiment of Guru Guha Skanda. He is Kartikeya Swarupa. Yet he did not show his magical divinity to anyone. He was just like any one of us. And talking about his power and showing us that he is very, very normal. In the time when he was studying at Madurai, there is an instance where when the Sabjan and Rangan and various others, including Bhagwan's brother Nagaswami, they were all playing. When they were playing, they did not have a ball to play with. So Venkatraman would roll himself tightly like this to become a ball. And they used to hold, he had the power, all these Ashtasiddhis we talk about. He could make himself very, very light. And the friends would hold Venkatraman like a ball and throw him. And while throwing and catching him, sometimes they would miss the catch. And Venkatraman would have fallen down like a ball which bounces on the ground. He would have fallen down, but nothing used to happen. Not even a scratch would come on Venkatraman. So powerful was he. But once while playing football, Ramana's leg got hurt and the bone was exposed and there was a lot of blood which was oozing. Then it was Sabjan who carried Venkatraman in his arms and he took him to the doctor, and the doctor put the right band-aid, and because of that one act of Sabjan, Venkatraman's wound, it healed. And he told, he always was grateful for Sabjan because you saved me. Because otherwise, if in our house they got to know that I had got hurt, they would not sent me out to play. But because of this one, it got healed very, very quickly. And nobody in the house got to know about this wound. So this was the play of Ramana. It was very, very strong. Rangan, when he met him later in Arunachala, he mentioned, Venkatraman, Bhagavan, when you were a kid, when you were playing with us, you were so strong. Your legs was like iron. So while swimming, if unknowingly, accidentally, if your legs fell on us, it was used to hurt like as if you have got a beatings from an iron rod. But now you have become very, very soft. You have become so soft. How is this? And Ramana replied, imagine a huge elephant is made to enter a small hut. What will happen to the hut? And that is what has happened. When the huge elephant called the Jnana has entered this hut-like body, this body has to wither. It becomes soft and the body is staying just to reveal the glory of that elephant-like Jnanam. Bhagavan is none other than the Supreme Lord. Bhagavan in Saddarshanam says, when we look at this whole world, when we see the so many stars, so many galaxies, and we can't even imagine how big the universe is. It is so huge, and we can't even travel to the next star because it is so many light years away. So even to travel to the next planet, we would require many, many days and years to travel. So such is the magnanimity of this whole universe, and how this whole universe is taken care by that supreme power. One surely should accept that there should be some apara shakti which is taking care of the whole universe, and it is that shakti which is It's controlling every movement. It is that Shakti which is giving us this gravitational force and the centrifugal force, which is making the earth go around the sun and all the other planets also to go around the sun in their own orbits, so that none of these planets collide with each other. There is this harmony which is there in this whole universe. Ramana says in a chapter called Society, which was documented by Ganapati Muni on a special day. It was the 15th of August in, I think, 1917, 30 years before we got independence. This important topic of how the society should be and what is the role of individual in the society. Ramana told the society is like a body, all the parts of the body, and each individual is the limb of the body, or you can say is the part of the body, and how the body works in harmony together without any conflict. There's no right hand will not fight with the left hand. So there's this complete harmony. If the usual example that is given is if the eyes starts weeping, it is the hands which come and wipe the tears. If something dust goes inside our eyes, it is our eyes. The hands help the eyes to clear that dust. And in the example in the story of how when there was robbers at Ramanashramam, Ramana stopped the devotees from going behind them and troubling those robbers, because he told sometimes our teeth may bite our tongue. So do we say that teeth are bad and do we knock off the teeth? No. We should live in harmony. The teeth and the tongue should live in harmony. Sometimes when there is some food particle has got caught in the teeth, it is the tongue which helps us take out the food particles from our teeth. And the teeth helps us to chew the food. And when you chew a food, when you chew an apple or when you chew a sugar cane with your teeth, the tongue can actually taste the sweetness of that food that we are eating. So all the parts of the body, how they work in harmony. Each individual should work together in the society, because the society is the whole body. And he continues and he says that we should control the whole society, the whole country with power. The power should be used to bring control, to bring law and order. And once this power is used and the law and order is set, then the peace should prevail. Then we should be peaceful. We should abide in the peace, said Bhagavan Ramana in that chapter of society in Ramana Gita. So the supreme power is actually controlling, because it is apara Shakti. It is controlling everybody and it is making everybody undergo this rules and regulation. What Ramana says, avaravar prapta prakaram adarkanavan angangirundu attiveppan. So the Supreme Lord is making us do whatever is destined to happen in the right way. His rule prevails everywhere. Nothing happens without His command. So everything is happening in that divine, supreme plan, which is so systematic and beautiful. Everything is happening. When we understand that this power is taking care, everything is in control, when we have this faith in that supreme, then we can turn towards our heart. And when we turn towards our heart, we understand that peace is our own true nature. And this is what Ramana showed in his life. He had complete faith in Arunachala. So he was ever abiding in the heart, whose nature is peace. Shiva Prakasham Pillai, also what we sing in Ramana Pada Pancharatnam, he says, Barangal yellam paranishai potru bhaktiyai avantiruppan பாதம் நேரங்கள் எல்லாம் நினைத்திருவென்று உரைப்போன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. ரமணன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. ரமணன் பாதம் வாழ்கவே. Having faith in the Supreme, putting all our worries, all our thoughts, offer it to the Supreme and turn towards the Ramana Padam every spare moment you have. Every moment, but sometimes we are busy with some work. So he gives a compensation. He says it's okay. Whenever you have free time, instead of thinking of something, offer that thought to the Supreme and turn towards the Self. Then we will understand that our own true nature is peace. When we understand this, we become one with that Supreme. And that Supreme, one who is Apar Shakti, we become one with that Apar Shakti. And with that Shakti, anything is possible and everything is wonderful. To teach this truth, Ramana has come into our lives. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. We continue the satsang with the meditation on the verses from Ramana Ashtottara written by Vishwanatha Swami. This will be meditated by Dr.Sarada.
Namo Ramana. Prostrations to Ramana, shining as the Self in all beings. With immense grace of the Self, manifest as Ramana. In this part of the satsang, we are meditating on the Ramana Ashtottara Shatanamavali or the Ramana Ashtottaram. This is a litany of 108 names on Bhagavan Ramana, composed by Vishwanatha Swami. So we were on the namas. Om Purnaya Namaha, Om Rachitachala Namaha, Om Gambhiraya Namaha, Om Paramacharya Namaha, Om Suprasannaya Namaha, Om Abhayapradaya Namaha. We were meditating on the Nama Paramacharya, the Supreme Acharya, one who is the Supreme Teacher. Also, the one who is the teacher's teacher, or the Guru of the Guru, the Parama Acharya. Why is Ramana called the Parama Acharya? Because he teaches the supreme truth. What is the supreme truth? The supreme truth is the truth of our own nature. our own reality. Because we do not know what is our own reality if we do not understand who we really are, then everything else that we experience may or may not be the truth. When we have a dream, we experience many things. But we wake up and we say, that was only a dream. Why do we say that? Because we believe that the person who we were or I was in my dream is not really me. So all the experiences that I had in my dream were only illusions. I am this waking. That's what I feel when I wake up. When each one of us wakes up, this is what we feel. So if we were to wake up to another higher or transcendent reality of our own nature, then all this which we are experiencing now would be seen to be a mere dream. So should we finish our lives in this mere dream? If it is a dream, should we not inquire into our own true nature? Why does the need arise to think at all that our nature is different from what we see during the waking hours? Because we do have these experiences of dream and deep sleep every day. And we do exist in dream and deep sleep. So why is it that we are pushing aside these experiences as not meaningful at all and emphasizing only the waking entity? Such questions, when they arise in us, when a real question about our nature arises in us, then we find that the answer is given through the path revealed by Bhagavan Ramana. That is the path of self-enquiry. So, Vishwanatha Swami says he is Paramacharya, the supreme guru, the supreme teacher who teaches the supreme truth at all times. And to whom does he teach it? He teaches it to all without any distinction whatsoever. That is the beauty of Bhagavan Ramana's life. We have heard that when Bhagavan Ramana was on the hill or when he was in Pachayaman temple, groups of monkeys also used to gather around him and sit in perfect silence. Sit in meditation. Why? Because he himself was always absorbed in that supreme reality. Ever since he experienced it as a boy of 16, says it never wavered. The awareness of the self never wavered. So he remained established in that supreme reality at all times. And he automatically radiated that. So anyone coming to his presence would experience that state very naturally. And thereafter, if one continued to keep in touch with him, both his physical presence and his guidance, then they could follow the path and remain established in that same nature. Of course, we find that Bhagavan has revealed this path to the monkeys, and later we find that he has revealed it and given the knowledge to Cow Lakshmi, to Jackie the dog, to Valli the deer, even to a crow. And everyone who came to Bhagavan, he would guide them to the same state of self-awareness through the path of self-enquiry. Of course, Bhagavan also guided those who were following the different paths along their path, but always back to the supreme truth. Always turn their attention back to the self. In Ramana Gita, there are 18 chapters. There are different questioners. There are questions about bhakti, there are questions about jnana, there are questions about siddhis, so many questions. But Ramana, what does he do? Bhagavan Ramana always turns the attention back to the self, no matter what it is. Even if there is a question about mind control, he will answer how the mind can be controlled. And then finally, he will turn the attention back to the self, saying that mind control is good, but it is temporary. So one must turn the controlled mind, the relatively silent mind, back to its source, the self. And while talking about the teachings of Bhagavan Ramana, the Eka Shloki of Bhagavan comes to one's mind, which is the shloka Hridaya Kuhara Madhye Kevalam Brahmamatram. Brahmamatram hi aham iti sakshat atmarupena bhati. And there he says, having stated, having continued the verse which was started by Jagadishwara Shastri as Hridaya Kuhara Madhye, Kevalam Brahmamatram, he says. Kevalam means that alone, only the self shines. So, though it is said Hridaya Kuhara Madhye, the indication of the heart center is only to facilitate the turning of attention back to the source. But what shines over there? Only the self. So there is, once one has turned the attention within and become established in the self, then the inner and the outer will also disappear because only the self shines. And how does it shine? Aham iti sakshat atma rupena bhati. It shines as I, as the Atma Swarupa, not as the limited I thought, but as the fullness of the self, as a pure reflection of the self. The Aham Spurana shines. And after indicating that, Bhagavan says, one must turn back, one must become Atmanishta. Tridivisha Manasa. With the mind, one should enter the heart. How? Swam Chinvata. By meditating on the self. Majjata. Diving deep into the self. Pavana Chalana Rodha. Or by controlling the breath. It is either or by controlling the breath. Otherwise, it is said it is and by controlling the breath. Because in his 40 verses on reality, Upadesa Bhagavan says, பேச்சு மூச்சு அடக்கிக் கொண்டுள்ளே ஆழ்ந்தறிய வேண்டும் அரே ஊபே யதா காಢ ஜலே ததாந்தஹ நிமஜ்ய புத்யா சதயா நிதாந்தம் பிராணம் ச வாசம் ச நியம்ய சின்வன் Vinde Nija Ahankriti Moola Rupam. Turn inwards with controlled breath and controlled speech, as if you are looking for a precious object fallen into a deep well. Majjata, sink inwards into the source and abide there. So, Chinvata, Swam Chinvata, Majjata va Pavana Chalana Rodhat, Pavana Chalana Rodhat, Atmanishto Bhavatvam. One says, remain ever established in the self. Muruganar Swami very sweetly says, thus the extravagant Ramana says, here it is, take it, Ida, take it, enjoy the bliss of your own natural state. He is ever giving it to us. So, he is hailed by Vishwanath Swami as Paramacharya Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramana.
Namo Ramana. We come to the last part of the satsang where we have a few verses of Arunachala Aksharamanamalai chanted by Srimati V. Radha. That will be followed by Ashtottara puja to Bhagavan by Sri Dileep Simhaji at his altar, and the chanting of the Ashtottaram will be by Vaibhavji and Prarthana, followed by Uma Sripathy, and the Arati song will be rendered by Dr. Pratibha. We have the Arunachala Aksharamanamalai and Ashtottara puja to Bhagavan.
Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. கொடியாமயக்கியன் போதத்தை பறித்து உன் போதத்தை காட்டினை அருணாச்சலா. போக்கும் வரவுமில் பொது வெளியினிலரு போராட்டம் காட்டருணாச்சலாம். பௌதிகமாமுடல் பற்று அற்று நாடும் முன் பவிசு கண்டுர அருள் அருணாச்சலாம். மலை மருந்திட நீ மலை திடவோ அருள் மலை மருந்தாயொளிர் அருணாச்சலாம். மானம் கொண்டுருபவர் மானத்தை அழித்த அபிமானம் இல்லாதொளிர் அருணாச்சலாம். மிஞ்சிடில் கெஞ்சிடும் கொஞ்ச வரிவனியன் வஞ்சி அதருள் என்னை அருணாச்சலாம். மீகாமன் இல்லாமல் மாகாற்றலை கலம் ஆகாம காத்தருள் அருணாச்சலாம். முடியடி காணா முடிவிடுத்தனை நேர் முடிவிட கட நிலை அருணாச்சலா. மூங்கிலின் முன்காட்டு முகுரமகாதனை தூக்கி அடைந்தருள் அருணாச்சலா. மெய்யகத்தின் மனமென் மலரணையில் நம்மை கலந்திட அருள் அருணாச்சலா. மேன்மேல் தாழ்ந்திடு மெல்லியர் சேர்ந்து நீ மேன்மையுற்றனையன் அருணாச்சலா. மைமய நீ தருள் மையினல் உனது உண்மை வசமாக்கினை அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சல சிவ, அருணாச்சல சிவ, அருணாச்சல சிவ, 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 அருணாச்சலா. अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल अरुणाचलं வாழி அன்பர்களும் வாழி அக்ஷரமணமாலை வாழி. நமோ ரமணா.
नमो रमण. भारद्वाज विश्वनाथ विरचितं श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तर शतनामावलिः अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशे यस्योर्विमात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि. ॐ महासेन महंसेन जाताय नमः. ॐ श्रीरमणाय नमः. ॐ गुरवे नमः. ॐ अखण्डसंविदाकाराय नमः. ॐ महौजसे नमः. ॐ कारणोद्भवाय नमः. ॐ जगद्गीतावताराय नमः. ॐ श्रीभूमिनाथस्थलोस्थिताय नमः. ॐ पराशरकुलोत्तंसाय नमः. ॐ सुन्दरार्यतपःफलाय नमः. ॐ कमनीयसुचारित्राय नमः. ॐ सहायाम्बा सहायवते नमः. ॐ शोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः. ॐ स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः. ॐ श्रीमद्वादशान्तमहास्थले लब्धविद्योदयाय नमः. ॐ महाशक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः. ॐ परमार्थविदे नमः. ॐ तीव्राय नमः. ॐ पितृपदान्वेषिणे नमः. ॐ इन्दुमौलिना पितृमते नमः. ॐ पितुरादेशतः शोणशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः. ॐ तपोमयाय नमः. ॐ उदासीनाय नमः. ॐ महायोगिने नमः. ॐ महोत्साहाय नमः. ॐ कुशाग्रदिये नमः. ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसंरम्भाय नमः. ॐ सुसन्द्रशे नमः. ॐ सवित्रे नमः. ॐ स्थिराय नमः. ॐ तपक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः. ॐ फुल्लाम्बुजविलोचनाय नमः. ॐ चन्द्रिकासितहासश्रीमण्डिताननमण्डलाय नमः. ॐ चूतवाट्यासवासीनाय नमः. ॐ चूर्णिताखिलविभ्रमाय नमः. ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः. ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः. ॐ त्रिगुणातिगाय नमः. ॐ विरूपाक्षगुहावासाय नमः. ॐ विराजितचलाकृतये नमः. ॐ उद्दीप्तनयनाय नमः. ॐ पूर्णाय नमः. ॐ रसिताचलताण्डवाय नमः. ॐ गम्भीराय नमः. ॐ परमाचार्याय नमः. ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः. ॐ अभयप्रदाय नमः. ॐ दक्षिणास्यनिधाय नमः. ॐ धीराय नमः. ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः. ॐ स्वराजे नमः. ॐ महर्षये नमः. ॐ भगवते नमः. ॐ ईड्याय नमः.
ॐ भूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः. ॐ विमलाय नमः. ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः. ॐ आप्ताय नमः. ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः. ॐ समदृशे नमः. ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः. ॐ सत्याय नमः. ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः. ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः. ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः. ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः. ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः. ॐ दयार्णवाय नमः. ॐ श्री शोणाचलनद्भूतस्कन्दाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः. ॐ सद्दर्शनोपदेष्ट्रे नमः. ॐ सद्भक्तवृन्दपरिवृताय नमः। ॐ गणेशमुनिभृङ्गेन सेविताङ्घ्रिसरोरुहाय नमः। ॐ गीतोपदेशसारादिग्रन्थसञ्चिन्नसंशयाय नमः। ॐ वर्णाश्रममतातीताय नमः। ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः। ॐ सौम्याय नमः। ॐ आत्मवते नमः। ॐ सर्वावनिमतस्थानाम् आराध्याय नमः। ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः। ॐ आत्मारामाय नमः। ॐ महाभागाय नमः। ॐ मातृमुक्तिविधायकाय नमः। ॐ विनताय नमः। ॐ विनुताय नमः। ॐ विप्राय नमः। ॐ मुनीन्द्राय नमः। ॐ पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः। ॐ दर्शनादगसंहारिणे नमः। ॐ मौनेन स्वात्मबोधकाय नमः। ॐ मृच्छान्तिकरसान्निध्याय नमः। ॐ स्मरणात्मन्दमोचकाय नमः। ॐ अन्तस्तिमिरचण्डांशवे नमः। ॐ संसाराणवतारकाय नमः। ॐ शोणाद्रीशस्तुतिद्रष्टे नमः। ॐ हार्दविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः। ॐ अविच्युतनिजप्रज्ञाय नमः। ॐ नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः। ॐ कमण्डलुधराय नमः। ॐ शुभ्रकौपीनवसनाय नमः। ॐ गुहाय नमः। ॐ दण्डपाणये नमः। ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः। ॐ भवरोगविषग्वराय नमः। ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः। ॐ देवतमाय नमः। ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः। ॐ सेनान्ये नमः। ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः।
ॐ श्री रमण भगवते नमः। श्री अष्टोत्तर शतनाम पूजां समर्पयामि। यस्थाणोररुणाचलस्य पदयोः स्मृत्याजनिं प्राप्यत दिव्यानुग्रह सुप्रवाह विवशस्तादात्म्यभावं गतः हृन्निष्ठस्वगभीर नित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनास्येकराट् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नम इदं लोकोत्तरज्योतिषे। नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावर्ण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि दर्शन सुख मंगल मुख सकल जीवहित सम्मुख ब्रह्म संगिये सदा तुष्ट सदा हृष्ट सदा शिवानंद पुष्ट परम महर्षि ब्रह्मनिष्ठ समदर्शी नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावर्ण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि ನಮ್ಮ ಮನವದೊಂದು ಕಾಡು ನೀನರಿತಿಯೇ ಅದರ ಜಾಡು ಹಿತವನರಿತು ನೀಡುತ್ತೆಮ್ಮ ಕೊರೆಯ ತಣಿಸಲೈ ಬೇಡಲೆಂದು ಬಂದ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿಯೇ ತಣಿವೆವಯ್ಯ ಮೋಡಿಗಾರನೇ ಹಿತವ ನುಡಿದು ಪೊರೆ ನಮ್ಮನು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸಂಗಿಯೇ ನಮೋ 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 ರಮಣ ಸದಾಶಿವ ಪ್ರಭಾವರ್ಣ ನಮೋ ಮಹರ್ಷಿ ನಮೋ ಮಹರ್ಷಿ बोलो भगवान श्री रमण महर्षि की जय
जय
नमो रमण
Namo Ramana.